Hey, Monique.
Hi.
I have a question.
Ask away.
How's your heart feeling today?
Oh, it's feeling fucking amazing.
Yay! I love hearing that.
I know.
Well, I ask you because I know that you have something exciting launching soon, which is a new course that you're offering called Heartbreak to Hope.
Yes.
And I know a little bit about how that course came to be.
You were there.
And I really am excited for you to share with our listeners about your story of Heartbreak to Hope and your course. So on today's episode, I'm excited for you to share.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Okay.
Welcome to Heart and Soul, the podcast where we empower and inspire women to lead their best lives, harnessing the power of their hearts and souls. We are Mariah
And Monique,
your hosts and guides on this journey of self-discovery and personal growth.
in each episode, we will dive deep into topics that matter most to you, from self-love and confidence to career development, relationships, and everything in between. We believe that every woman has a unique strength and inner wisdom waiting to be unleashed.
Join us as we cover insightful heart and soul-centered topics and interview incredible women who've overcome challenges, chased their dreams, and found their true purpose. Through all of this, you will discover practical tips, strategies, and real-life stories to help you navigate life's twists and turns.
For whatever season of life you're in, this podcast is your safe space to explore, learn, grow, and possibly even laugh and cry with us. So grab your headphones, maybe your favorite drink, and we'll embark on this transformative journey together.
With heart, I'm Mariah.
And with soul, I'm Monique.
So I'm started off the top of the episode talking about Monique's journey from heartbreak to hope. And I would love for you to share how you sort of came up with this catchphrase.
Yes.
What it means to you, how you got there in your own journey. And then ultimately we'll talk about what that looks like for other people who may want to learn more about how you can help them with their heartbreak to hope. So let's go deep. Monique, tell us everything.
Thank you so much. It's so interesting because, and I'll get into the story of how this kind of all evolved in a second. But when I was talking about this course, because I was like on fire about this course, when it was first downloaded to me a year and a half ago, not quite a year and a half ago. I was telling one of my yoga teachers and she's like, I just heard Spirit say that that's exactly what you do. That's who you are. You bring people from heartbreak to hope. That's the work you do. And I was like, damn,
Ooh,
I feel seen.
I just got goosebumps
Right.
right here.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like this course, and probably why I get so excited about it, because it does represent a lot of aspects of who I am just as a person. Right? It kind of like, we all have those moments in our life when you like, everything came together. And when it came together, it created the thing. And this is one of these moments. I mean, everything came together and it created my children. Everything came together and it created whatever. But this is one of those moments.
Yeah.
So I'd like to just talk about that. But, you can listen to our backstories.
Yes. Go back to the early episodes of getting to know the both of us.
Because in there, I talk a little bit about my journey, through my life. And some of the heartbreaks that I was in. But the major heartbreak that I happened to go through was the loss of like a 27-year marriage.
No small heartbreak.
No, and it was during COVID. So we were all on lockdown too. So it was another added layer of isolation and separation. So long story, I'm going to try to condense it. Married my high school sweetheart, met at 16 years old. We're both same age. Had children really young, started a family really young, worked really, really hard together. And I thought I was like in shock. At 16 years old, I had found my person. Were there issues? Absolutely. but I'm such a ride or die, as you
Yeah,
know,
you
loyal
are.
to the end. I was just like, well, that's just how relationships are. They're going to have issues. I love this person. They love me. We're so lucky we found each other. And for a long time, 20 some years, we ticked along that way. And so as our marriage started falling apart for various reasons that I don't need to necessarily get into, things over time, people change.
Yeah.
And with changes, you either can change together or stay connected together. But on our journeys, we started changing and drifting apart. And as that happened, I really started struggling.
Your heart was breaking.
My heart was breaking. Now, I was still married, but if anyone has ever read the book Attached, it talks about the attachment styles of people that are formed when we are very young. It's like how we bond to people.
Yeah.
And there's 3 primary attachment styles. I tend to be a secure attachment style, but when I was going through all of this, I was secure/anxious. And when my now ex-husband was going through this, he was avoidant. And so for me, here's me like, how many hoops do I need to jump through? We just got to get through this. It's going to be okay. This is how I saw myself, of course.
Because you were attached securely.
And also I was a little anxious, right?
Yeah.
So I was pursuing, and he was into an avoidant state. So wouldn't come home, blah, blah, blah. And that was very hard for me because I'm like, where did this come from? This has been a guy that's been around for 20 plus years and now suddenly gone. Let me just fast forward. He ended up having an affair. So,
okay.
But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But that said, I started feeling myself being withdrawn from, and it was devastating to me. I have referenced it, and I remember saying it even, and this is even before the divorce. I felt like a piece of me was missing or being extracted. That is how enmeshed I felt us.
So painful.
Right.
So painful.
And I remember going through my divorce and saying, I would rather have lost my arm or my leg because I felt like that would have been less painful than the physical pain I felt in my body, right?
Yeah.
So when I started noticing this in myself, I enrolled myself in this course, and a course about becoming yourself, coming back to yourself, because I had this aha moment, like, I'm a love junkie. I'm literally addicted to love. I need this dopamine fix. And so I started doing the addiction Kriya, which those people who know me, I'm all about Kundalini yoga. And I started doing the addiction Kriya. I did it for 30 days. I started doing these deep dives and started reading books like Attached. I started reading books on abandonment. And I'm still married. And I'm asking questions and going to therapy. Why are you so distant? I'm stressed out. It's work. Right. All the excuses, which is fine. But I had nothing to do but to tend to myself, because the person that I was used to communicating with and being in a relationship with was withdrawn from me. And we weren't in a place or space where I was not in a place or space where I was thinking divorce. I was just thinking, this is a phase. We will get through this.
How can I fix me?
Right.
You're working on yourself.
Right. The best way to make changes with ourselves. This is what I know. This is the only thing I know. I can't make someone else show up. And we aren't divorced. We're still together. So I need to fix me, and I need to fix if I'm addicted, whatever the thing is.
And you didn't see another path that wasn't you two staying together. So you were diligently doing the work.
Because again, ride or die.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that said, I know I say that a lot.
It's kind of one of your phrases.
I know.
Your catchphrases.
I went really deep on healing the parts of myself I needed to heal. My abandonment wounds, my need for validation, my people pleasing, my codependency, reading books, doing courses. I started doing Kundalini yoga. I was meditating hardcore. I was journaling like a fanatic, because I'm like, I got to fix myself. So I'm either like this person's person, or if this isn't going to end up working out, because remember, I'd been in this relationship since I was 16.
You didn't know any other way.
Right. So I didn't even see it as another option being out there. So whatever ends up happening, I need to make sure I'm going to be okay. So I was doing a lot of inner work on top of, all the outer work too. Trying to not be triggered, trying to not be needy, trying for my person. So the light of day comes that indeed he'd been with, had an affair, been having an affair for over a year with another person. And I was, of course, devastated. There's so many layers and levels of which, people operate. And on some layer, I can say I knew, like my higher self knew. Yeah. But on the 3D where I live and operate, it was devastating because that meant I was going to have to go through all of the things, selling the house, moving, packing, unattaching, dividing up assets, everything everyone has to do.
Yeah. Telling the children.
Right.
All of it.
Oh my gosh.
You were
there, you saw.
Yeah.
It was a shit show.
Accepting or by knowing when you finally knew we're in the knowing.
Yes.
Then you had to act. And I think the other part about it is that like you in particular couldn't act any other way, but you knew it was done. Like I think that I remember that distinctly in that time was, you did take a bit of time to kind of figure out like, could we work this out? Could we not? But your inner knowing there, I think, was always pretty clear. Like that was a non-negotiable for you. And so then you immediately had to go to what does dissolving this look like?
Yes.
And all of the horror stories and all the ways it could go wrong and like live through that.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that because there are a lot of people who have been in my shoes and have made other choices and I have no judgment whatsoever. For me, so all I can speak to is I would have lost so much respect for myself as a human being. I remember telling my ex-husband, I have to live with myself.
Right.
And I cannot live with myself if I live with someone who has done this to me.
Because you are so ride or die. Like,
yes.
There's no gray area here. Like if I'm your person, I'm your person.
Yes.
But you broke that.
Yes.
I think that's just to your nature.
Yes, it is. So I made the decision and I did sit with it for a while. I immediately said, we're going to have to get divorced now because this is the one line that I'm not okay with you crossing. But I also sat for months and kept coming back like, could I, even though I'm still moving the divorce proceedings forward, is there, But I also, luckily for probably 6 months prior, had been doing all of this internal work as well. Thank God.
Your soul was preparing you.
Yes, for what it knew was coming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then fast forward, going through the mediation, divorce, all of that stuff, right? So this was 2020. In 2021, end of Q1 in 2021, we were divorced. I think it was the same day we got married.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So you and I are doing masterminds. I started actually same month, the next month that after I found out about his affair, I started my coaching certification program. I started Kundalini yoga. So I'm building my career as we now know it.
Well, and I mean, you're saying this out loud, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking like you really were preparing to be on your own for quite a while before you knew.
Yes.
Knew officially because you had started on this journey of following your pursuit of a spiritual coaching career.
Yes.
Like you had started preparing yourself for that, but then you were also in it. So now you're like battling all of this heartbreak and divorce and all of that while, become somebody completely new in your career.
Right.
So like kind of a lot.
It was kind of a lot. You know, my housing, I also had 3 months prior become an empty nester. My last child had moved out of the house. There was a lot. I'm not saying everyone's heartbreak looks like mine, but I'm just saying, holy shit, if I live through that heartbreak and got to hope on the other side, I might have the recipe. I might have some sauce for you.
There's certainly learnings there that could be shared.
Yes.
Because you did do that while keeping your chin up and continuing to be an amazing friend and mother and all those things.
Thank you. That's very sweet. So while I was rebuilding while I was deconstructing and then beginning the
Yes.
process of rebuilding a new life by myself, I was using these tools and these things to help support me. I was using my yoga practice to help keep me in a higher state of consciousness while going through mediation, which is very low vibrational, very difficult. I was doing a lot of reading and, journaling, and I just was fervently trying to process what was coming through, using some of the books I had read, just all of the things. So I'm kind of like in my own incubator of what is this course,
Yeah.
taking
Yeah,
myself
you're
from this
living it.
low brokenness state to this higher vibration, I hope state, right? So over the course of a couple years, this is going on, finding joy, finding moments, peace, like I'm starting to rebuild. You and I are building businesses. I'm
Mhm.
building businesses. Another friend, we're moving forward, right?
And you moved into like a wonderful home that you
Yes.
rebuilt. Like
Yes.
you kind of this rebuilding theme
Yes.
continued in
Yes.
all the parts of your life.
And I will say, for me as a person, and you would know this, I'm always a glass half full person.
Mm-hmm.
That one took a little wind out of my sails. I was down, and I have been down for a while. But I always knew, I think, and I've said this to you so many times, I bet on myself.
Yes. I knew you were going to say that.
Yes.
I totally did.
Yes. Because that's what I did.
You did. You bet
I
on
was
yourself.
like, my ex-husband was talking to me about we could fix it. And I was like, the time for that is over. It's time for me to bet on my own horse. I know I've got my winning horse. You have not proven to be a winning horse. So I just knew with this glass half full kind of rose-colored glasses mentality that it was going to get better. Now it's been a rocky, windy road.
Yes.
There's been some joy. There's been some more heartbreak. But I knew it was going to get better. And I kept just like, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. How? I'm just keep working my process. I keep doing the things. I keep reading the books. I keep meditating. I keep journaling. So fast forward, 2023. Seems to me that I start finding certain clients coming to me.
Mm-hmm.
I've got probably 3 or 4 different categories, but one category that screamingly comes to me is people who have gone through heartbreak and can't seem to get over it. And I don't know that I'm inspiring because I did have a boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
Right outside of the divorce, I had a boyfriend and he was a long-term boyfriend. Was it my ideal person forever? Not necessarily, but was wonderful relationship for the time that we had the relationship. So I don't know if that inspired people. I think what inspired people was the fact that I fucking reinvented myself.
Yeah. They could
Hardcore.
They could see that
Yeah.
reinvention if they knew you before, especially.
Yes.
Like there you were doing it.
Right. So these people were finding their way to me. And I found myself like referencing them and giving them the same homework I had given myself. Like, oh, you're stuck here. This helped me when I was stuck there. Oh, you're having these thoughts. This helped me get out of that crazy thinking. Oh, you're not feeling like good enough in this way. These are the affirmations or the mantras that I would say to myself. Oh, your attachment style is this. Try reading this book. Oh, this. And so I would just be like doling out the advice of all of the things I was doing for myself, and just was kind of surprised like how that these people were attracting themselves to me, right? Because I was like, wow, it's like I attracted a younger version of myself that I needed to help. And that's what coaching is really all about.
Right.
So 2023, you and I are in a mastermind retreat. And in this retreat, one of the girls was talking about her divorce, and maybe one of the guys, her ex-husband, wasn't doing some terms of their divorce or something. And I was like, you need to get a hold of the attorney, blah, blah, blah. I was just freely like, telling her what I thought she needed to do. Like, that was not okay. It's a term. That's a legal document, blah, blah, blah. And I was just helping her, right? And we went to bed that night because you and I love to sleep in the same rooms because the magic happens when we're together on retreat.
And we can giggle and
watch silly reels.
Yeah, it's always where we just decompress and have some of our most aha moments.
And plan for the next day, right? So we're sleeping and you're asleep. And all of a sudden, I get a download. And for those of you who don't know what a download is, it's just when like God, spirit, universe just streams down information into you and you're like, what the actual, not necessarily preempted by much.
It just shows up in your brain, in your mind. You
and you're
see
like,
it.
Bing. So I got a download and it was like, you will do this course. This course is going to take 6 weeks. This course is going to be called Heartbreak to Hope. This course is going to take people from a broken space into a space where they'll have hope or they'll have actually the idea or thought of moving on and what that could look like for them. And each week you're going to meet with them in community. This is the price. It even gave me the price.
You had it all figured out.
I know. It talked to me, this download like showed me some of the steps and I was like, okay, we're in a small village in Italy. It's like 11:30 at night. I can't guarantee I'm going to remember all these details. I mean, and you're sleeping, so I'm not going to go flip the light on and
could
go
I
write
even
it
find
down.
a pen if I tried?
I know, right? I mean, and the whole house is asleep. Like everyone's sleeping. It was so bizarre. This has happened to me before, but to have it happen like that was just like, okay. So I said, well, if this is meant to be, I hope the sure as shit I remember it.
I remember it in the morning.
So I wake up in the morning and you and I are like, bup, 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 bup. And I don't even know what it was. I was like, Mariah, I have to tell you something. I did. It just bing. And you're like, what? And I told you all about it. And you're like, oh, wow.
Done.
And I think I wrote it down. You're like, let's write it down. And you helped me start like breaking it down and coming up with like how to organize it. But it was really pretty clear from the get-go. And in the end, this course uses a lot of the things that I've coached my clients through, that I, in the beginning, coached myself through, to take me from such a broken place where I'd rather lose an arm than lose my person, to moving on and having hope that there's life beyond this extreme heartbreak. And it's amazing. I just get so jazzed about this course because it really, I don't think people can understand how it helps because it helped build me back up.
Yeah.
It was the thing that helped get me off the floor. You're lying there, I see myself like lying on the ground in the fetal position, crying and screaming, just can't believe the shock and awe of it all, to standing up with a smile on my face, having fun with my friends, able to get out the door and not be like that puddle, right?
And ultimately thriving.
Yes.
And building the life you wanted.
Yes, how it looked and how I wanted it to look.
Yeah.
And doing it my way, right? Right or wrong. It's my right or wrong.
Exactly. And I think as I'm listening to you and I'm thinking about how perfect the term Heartbreak to Hope was as the title of your course and really of the platform that you're developing, is that hope is the perfect word to get to, because hope is truly like, it's like the thing that you have to have to move forward in whatever the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about stories about prisoners or people, in near-death experiences or whatever scenario where they don't know how it's going to turn out, the thing they cling to is hope.
Yes.
The feeling of hope that there is possibility that something else exists.
Yes.
And that hope is what gets them to survive through the most horrific of circumstances. Heartbreak being one of the many horrific circumstances can happen. And so to get people to a place of having hope gives them the tools to get beyond hope to
hope.
happiness, to survival, to flourishing,
Yes.
to all the other things.
Yes.
But you're not going to just go from heartbreak to happiness.
No.
You got to get to hope.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
when you're not so hopeless anymore,
yes.
you can begin to rebuild the life.
Interesting. My friend and I developed a course called Discovering Joy. So that could be the next. But
Perfect.
yes.
Heartbreak to hope, discovering joy. Excellent.
I feel like hope is like a bridge.
Yes.
Right?
That's so
If you can just
great
get
way
to the
say it.
bridge.
Then you have a chance to cross.
Right. And you can get over that bridge, then you can find, if we talk about emotions being energy, heartbreak and grief and loss and despair and, just all those overwhelming energies are very low vibrational. Hope is probably somewhere in the middle. I don't know. I haven't looked at this chart in a long time where, it's not joy and peace and love and happiness like you're saying, but it's the bridge that gets you to those things if you choose. Right?
Yep.
So I'm just so jazzed about the program because I believe I just want literally to get it to anybody's hands who's gone through something like this. And I probably just sound like a fanatical,
No.
because people are like, oh yeah, we get it. You really like your course. I'm like, wait, this isn't my course. This course found its way to me.
Yes.
This is lived experience. Yes, you're right. These are the books and things and tools and tricks that I have in my toolbox and that I've used myself. But like the way and the structure that this landed for me was like divine. Like,
yes.
who wouldn't want divine information? I don't know. If people are hesitant, I am just shocked. But I get it. Nobody wants to be sold something else. So I've been working on the course. In its original kind of download to me was a 6-week course in community, and people would log on Zoom and share their experiences, but we would talk through the curriculum. Since then, I have been trying to break it down into other styles for people because I realize not everyone wants to be in community. Not everyone wants to learns that way. So I'm working on a workbook that people could purchase. I'm working on a digital course that's downloadable that, every week they get a download that then they don't have any interaction with
go
me.
At their own pace.
Right. And I'm working on, there's the community aspect of how it was created. And then there's also a one-on-one, which is where you have complete and total access to me. And I walk you through all of the steps, not just in a group setting, but one-on-one. And so I'm trying to make it more accessible because I really, truly do believe in this process. I believe that it will help get you from the bottoms to hope.
And thinking through all those different modalities to receive this information from you. And like you said, make it accessible.
Yes.
No matter where you're at, no matter what you have to spend on
Price
your
points.
own hope.
Mm-hmm.
There's a way that they could access this
Mm-hmm.
and learn from you. And you do share a lot about this on all of your social media as well.
Yes.
Like it has become a very common thread and theme throughout the work that you do and the coaching that you do. And it's just so cool to have walked beside you in the journey, to literally have been sleeping beside you when you got the download.
I know.
And the first to hear about it. And then I remember when you first launched the original course, and just like it flowed out of you. I was like, what? Where did that even come from? You just like
I know.
crushed that out. The
It's
graphics.
crazy.
And I think you even said like this is the easiest thing to write in your life.
Yeah.
Like it just came out onto the page, and now just working through the different ways that people could experience it.
Mm-hmm.
It's everybody's lived experience is the best teacher.
Oh, so true.
And you are, if not you to share this message when you received it divinely,
I know.
then who?
Right.
And we are all going through heartbreaks every day. Heartbreak isn't just the loss of a
love
relationship.
Yes.
There's heartbreak in death. There's heartbreak in loss of other,
there's
career.
heartbreak. Yeah, there's heartbreak in like your children moving out. That's a huge thing,
There's heartbreak
actually.
in empty nesting.
Yes. There's
you've
heartbreak
experienced
in
all of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so, it all culminated at once. So this isn't just for people who are in a 27-year marriage.
Right.
This is people for casual in nature, and they just really need a support system. They need some direction. They need some tricks and tools. And just a lot of times too, I notice it's for people who really just want to have a better understanding about themselves and why they have operated the way they've operated in the relationship.
Why their heart keeps breaking.
Yes. Or maybe why they concede at certain times when they shouldn't concede, why they switch and change themselves. I mean, there are a lot of people who will act or be different with their love person. And I think their person, their special person. And I think sometimes that's because they don't want to be seen, or, I mean, there's a whole lot of things. So it's really not just for somebody who's coming out of that. It's for you to get to know yourself and why you are the way you are, and be okay with you being the way you are, and maybe putting up some boundaries. And all the work I do is kind of like in this course, because
it's preparing people for when you get to hope that you're ready to receive all the good that can come. So it reminds me of another conversation we once had, and it just like came to me today or just now, that we talked about, societally, there's this construct of like one great love. And that when that's lost for whatever reason, like, are you supposed to have another one, right? Like that we're still asking that in this day and age, right? And I'm actually thinking about like one of my favorite shows I've talked about before is the Bachelorette franchise. Well, now there's the Golden Bachelor, the Golden Bachelorette.
I have to see this.
And actually, how the Golden Bachelorette is like one of the best reality shows I've ever seen. It's phenomenal. And
I need
just this second chance at love, like after loss, is so beautiful. And we one time talked about that. Like you thought, well, this was supposed to be my one true love. Now what am I supposed to do?
Right. And
I remember saying to you, like, who says you don't get more than one love? More than one true love.
Right.
That's a Disney princess situation. That's a fairy tale construct. You can have more great loves.
And I have.
And she has. And you are, an inspiration, and that you got there and you saw that, and now you're real, you've just realized like there's more love to be had, to be given, and to be received.
Yes.
And to not be bogged down by the idea that like this one love didn't work out. It doesn't mean there isn't more love to be had. The world is full of love. We also talked about that on this podcast.
And I will say, I do understand I have a bravery around this that not everyone has. And the reason I say that is because recently I've started a new relationship, and people have been shocked. So after my divorce, I was in a 4-year relationship, and that did not end up being my forever relationship. So here's Monique, the perpetual glass half full, rosy glasses person. I'm still like, I'm going to find my forever person. I just so am Disney fairy tale person. I can't help myself. And so I went on Facebook dating and was like, I'm going to date for 3 to 6 months. And then I meet this guy and I'm like, what
about 3 weeks.
This is Mr. Wonderful. Anyways,
but you are an inspiration, and you give people hope, because I remember sitting with you right after that, and your hope around this isn't the end of my story.
No way.
I'm going to get back out there.
Yes.
There are more fish in the sea. I'm not going to be I'm not going to be held back by the size of the pond, because that is also something that people struggle with. It's a limiting belief.
Nope.
Oh, I couldn't possibly find somebody in Duluth. Right. Like, it's too small of a town. There's nobody here. Everybody sucks. I remember thinking,
heard that and I was like, what? Well, yeah, why are you dwelling on that?
Yeah, I mean, if the person is meant to be found, you'll find them wherever they are.
And I'm finding them.
And lo and behold,
I know,
right there in the pond. And you know what? However this goes, like,
yeah. So to that point, I have observed myself now, because I'm in a newer relationship, and as feelings deepen and past traumas surface from past hurts, I have had to work my own plan yet again.
Yes.
And really sit with uncomfortableness of, this person could hurt you. You're vulnerable again.
Right.
I've journaled and cried. And I said, oh, but it feels so good. And I can't help myself because damn, he's cute. And also, I am the perpetual hope person. I just know, like I know I'm going to find my person. And let's be true. And I mean, let's be real. I am my own person, right? But I want to find a vibrational match.
Yes.
And I believe I can. And so that's where I'm at.
And you have gone from heartbreak to hope.
I mean, I think so, but
well, to make sure that we wrap this up in a way that people can find you,
yes,
and find their way to you to support them in their own journey of heartbreak to hope. For anybody listening, whatever that heartbreak looks like, Monique, share a little bit more about what that looks like to work with you, how they find you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just explain a couple of the things I do. So I do one-on-one coaching, right? And that's just my name, MoniqueForcier.com. I'm sure it'll be linked in the show notes. And on my courses, and I think it's like retreat courses and workshops page, Heartbreak to Hope is on there. Now, by the time this airs, we may have already started the next community group. I believe it starts October 23rd. But that doesn't mean if this course aligns for you that you couldn't either work with me one-on-one or hopefully this winter I will be having the digital downloads available. I just have to put a little bit more work into it so that they could just do the self-study. But they would find my website and they would go there and click on that. I do the one-on-one and then I do this course, however this course looks, right? I do it in person, in a group, eventually online, and then eventually through a workbook. That's what I'm working on next. And then I do sound healing, Kundalini yoga, and I weave my recorded Kundalini yoga classes into the course as well.
Ooh,
so that,
cool.
Hey, you're dealing with anger? I've got the class for you. Hey, you're dealing with heartbreak? I've got the class for you. And I give them a pre-recording. They do it at their leisure, and it helps move the energy through the body because we know that emotions get trapped in the body when we don't have the tools to release them. And so Kundalini yoga is a really, really helpful way to release stored and stuck energy in the body. So I use that program or that practice. Yes. And so I'm available. You can reach out to me through my website.
Your Instagram.
My Instagram has a lot of free tips on coaching tips and information. So you could reach out there. And it's the same, Monique Forcier on Instagram and Facebook on my handles.
I just, while you were talking, had a vision. I feel like I had a download.
Oh, boy.
Where I think that what I think's going to be a next place that you can bring this. So I'll share it with you after.
Oh, wow. So coming soon, wherever Mariah downloaded here.
Yeah. I love our downloads. Well, it's been so just, I don't know, hopeful to hear you share the story, to know you and to have known you through this heartbreak and the journey that you've been on, and to see you sitting here vulnerably sharing your story and how it can now help others is really freaking cool.
Awesome.
So I hope everybody listening has enjoyed today's episode and enjoys the podcast. And we hope that you will just continue listening. And thank you.
Thank you for letting me share.
Cheers, friends. You've just finished another episode of the Heart and Soul podcast. We hope that you've enjoyed the show, and if you've loved it, we would love if you'd leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening. You can find links to leave that review in the show notes, where you'll also find other resources that we reference on our show. And if you think a friend could find value in today's episode or any future episodes, please share this episode with them on social media. This is one of the only ways the podcast can organically grow, and we just can't wait to connect with you and all of your besties. You can also find Monique and I on our many social media platforms or our websites, and we're going to leave links to those in the show notes as well. Thank you for listening. We look forward to sharing our hearts and souls with you again next time. With Heart, I'm Mariah.
And with Soul, I'm Monique.